Coming up on American Sunrise, victims of Jeffrey Epstein gather in Washington, D.C., demanding President Trump unseal the full Epstein files, just as he once again labels the case a Democrat hoax. Plus, only 2 more Republicans stand between a forced House vote on transparency. The bipartisan push for justice is gaining momentum. And a former Biden White House aide accuses squad member Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib of abandoning her district's priorities in favor of an activist agenda. The question, where does representing constituents end and activism begin? And later, President Trump is putting pressure on Hamas to release the remaining 20 Israeli hostages. In moments, see his post on Truth Social directed at the terror group. Those stories and so much more as the second hour of American Sunrise starts right now.
Good morning, America.
Welcome to American Sunrise.
Whether it's culture,
we have breaking news to share with you.
Politics.
President Trump is joining us live now from Florida.
We've got you covered.
This is what it looks like to be a patriot.
We have to protect the American family.
The American dream is still alive.
I'm David Brody.
I'm Terrence.
And I'm Dr. Gina.
Welcome back, everybody, to the second hour of American Sunrise. I'm David Brody, coming to you from the deep state, guarded by the National Guard. Let's bring in T. Bates. In our Denver newsroom, Emily Finn filling in for Dr. G down in West Palm. Good morning to both of you. Can I just say, as you look in the chat, it's amazing. The chat is it's just a phenomenal place. I was on the YouTube chat. We got Getter, we got Rumble, all of that. You got to join us. They're talking about Epstein, talking about news of the day, talking about Judaism, and then it always transitions into pizza. Who's the best pizza? Emily, where are you on this? Are you Chicago as well?
I'm going to have to go with
Yes,
Chicago.
Emily,
Yeah, that is the best. I lived there for a few years.
It's been a pleasure.
Can't get enough.
All right, goodbye.
All right,
Bye,
Emily,
David.
let's you and
See
I
ya.
move on because he obviously has no taste in
No,
pizza.
hold on. New York.
Papa John's pizza is better than New York pizza in my book. I mean, I'll just go there. While he gets set, let me just get at one of the internet's most powerful gatekeepers, and that would be Wikipedia. House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer and Representative Nancy Mace are demanding answers about what they believe is anti-Israel bias and alleged anti-Semitism. They're also calling for an investigation into alleged foreign propaganda in the site's editing practices. The lawmakers want internal records, IP data, and documents that could expose editors who may be tied to state-sponsored disinformation campaigns. A recent Anti-Defamation League report flagged concerns about the site. Another from the Atlantic Council warned of Russian manipulation through AI. Wikipedia actually claims the accusations are unsupported, though. Florida's changing political demographic is leading to even more freedom in the so-called free state. It's now set to become the first state to end all state vaccine mandates.
It's wrong. It's immoral. They do not have the right to tell you what you put in your body. People have a right to make their own decisions, informed decisions. You want to put, whatever different vaccines in your body, God bless you. I hope you make an informed decision. You don't want to put whatever vaccines in your body, God bless you. And I hope you make an informed decision.
Governor Ron DeSantis says the effort coincides with the establishment of the Florida MAHA Commission. He describes it as a working group that will recommend state-level integration of Make America Healthy principles, including individual medical freedom and parent rights. Initially, the Florida Department of Health plans to roll back mandates on about a half dozen vaccines under its authority. Beyond that, the department will work with the Republican majority Florida legislature on a broader package of reforms. All right, that's a quick check of your headlines. Now, let's get you back over to Adrian Hernandez, our friends from over at Weather Nation, with a quick check of your nationwide forecast. Adrian, good morning. Where can I go for a little cool down? It's football season now, and I can't stand watching football games when it's 85, 90 degrees still at 7 o'clock at night.
Thanks, Terrence. And yeah, well, actually, a great place maybe to check out a football game. I don't know if the Packers are going to be playing, but out by Wisconsin, things are really going to start to cool down, Terrence. And a lot of that is going to be due to these two fronts. We're actually going to be watching one larger one that's out over by the Northeast now, and then another one that's going to be sweeping through most of the northern portions of the nation later on this work week and well into your weekend, bringing the chances for some severe weather. Here's a severe outlook for Thursday. Here's that yellow here, the yellow coloring. That's the first front. And then the second front, once it does pass through, we have more severe outlooks in the coming days and even some more severe outlooks today associated with the front I was just mentioning, the second one that's going to be passing through most of the spots over later on this work week. And then over by Saturday, as that second front pushes out further towards east, maybe some better chances for something severe over in Washington. Looking at the national alerts right now, we do have heat alerts out in the Pacific Northwest. Out west, though, a little bit further east, we do have wind alerts associated with that second front. As it pushes down, it's going to be a windy one. So some of these areas here in the Dakotas picking up some wind chill values, low as 30 to 40 degrees. It's going to be nice and frigid for those guys early on this morning. And then down south, in the southwest, we do have some flood alerts starting to rip by. Forecast precipitation over the next 5 days. You see it's kind of hugging the front there as we continue on. As it continues out east, the highest concentration of rain everywhere else but Florida is actually here in Kentucky, eastern Kentucky. Anywhere from about 2 to maybe 3 inches of rain is possible. But around most of the areas here, anywhere from about an inch maybe to an inch and a half is expected. But of course, like all great things, the South Florida always seems to be the outlier. As we take a little bit of a closer look, we see most of the forecasted precipitation, actually the highest values in the entire nation over the next 5 days is right down here in West Palm. We can see anywhere from about 5, maybe closer to 5, maybe 6 inches of rain expected. All these yellow coloring showing me about 3 inches of rain, and then it stays a little bit lower as we go a little bit further up the panhandle. I want to throw it back to you, Terrence.
All right, Adrian, appreciate it, my friend. All right, folks, let's get you back over to Emily now. Emily, good morning.
Good morning to you, Terrence. Thank you. Well, we want to get to some top headlines. Yesterday on Capitol Hill, Epstein survivors were speaking out publicly, many for the first time. Lawmakers from both parties held a joint presser, including Representative Thomas Massie and Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. It comes after House Republicans released 33,000 documents on Epstein. Democrats call it a distraction, but the victims say they want transparency, not politics. Does this move help or hurt Trump, or is that missing the point entirely? For that question, let's welcome to American Sunrise Republican strategist and the host of the 13-minute news hour, Bobby Eberle. Bobby, so great to have you in studio with us today. Want to get your reaction to the presser yesterday.
Thanks, Emily. Yeah, I thought the press conference was incredible. I've been pushing for this for a long time. Anything that you can do to get justice for these victims and to find out who is behind this massive trafficking scheme, that's what we should be doing. Now, the Oversight Committee is doing a great job. They're doing their thing. But, you know, how many times have we seen oversight investigations from Benghazi to Hillary Clinton to Hunter Biden crime family, and nothing's come of it? Absolutely nothing has come of it. So to get this into some congressional members that are very motivated and very focused, and to get the victims to actually have a voice. I always talk about being the voice for the victims. Well, these victims are speaking out for themselves, which I think is phenomenal. So let's keep it going. And I hope, you know, to answer your question on the lead-in, you know, that Trump is truly on board with this. It's not a hoax. It's for real. And it's one of the galvanizing points of the movement as far as getting rid of the deep state and looking for accountability and transparency and more power to this movement for sure.
Bobby, you used the word galvanizing, bringing people together. It seems to me that the Republican Party would be more galvanized, would be more united behind this, but the reality is it's not. How do you explain that away?
You know what? I think I hate to say this, but I think it's criticism from the top. I really think that this is a galvanizing movement or issue for the movement. And, you know, we talked about it. One of the first things in the first month, you know, was this meeting with phase 1 of the Epstein files, the binders, and people were saying, hey, okay, that's phase 1. You don't label it that unless there's a phase 2 and phase 3, and you keep going forward. So people are expecting real results from a new DOJ, a new FBI, and just this new attitude in town. So I think if we just get the leadership and from the top all the way in the administration to get on board with this, and come what may, as far as whose names are released or where this goes. That's what is owed the American people.
You know, we do straight talk here, so let's go to straight talk. You said leadership at the top. We're talking about President Trump. If President Trump had said, let's get this done, kind of like the one big beautiful bill, and he got it by July 4th. If he said on this situation, let's get this done, you would have dozens and dozens and dozens, and dozens of Republicans saying, absolutely, let's get this done. Instead, he's kind of quashing it.
Yeah, and then it's really tough because on the Ro Khanna and Massey side of it, as they're pushing this resolution, this bill, they need support. They need Republican support. And to your point, David, if President Trump would come out and say, yes, we ran on this because they did. This was an issue as far as accountability and transparency. We need to get this done. And we need to get this done in 2 weeks. As far as a step-by-step release of information, they could get it done. There's no doubt in my mind. Instead, we're calling it a hoax. Instead, hey, let's, taking time in media interviews to say, let's move on. Why are people fixated on this? It doesn't sit well. And one thing we've learned is that the MAGA movement, it's not a cult. We're committed to America First agenda, and we'll speak out. And this is one that has really gotten people to speak out.
I just want to quickly say, Emily, I know we'd have to move on, but thank you for saying that it's not a cult, because, of course, the Democrats and the media think it is. And this is a great example. Exhibit A as to it's not a cult. Look, people are going to speak out about this. If Trump feels differently, he feels differently. So what? It's not a cult. We're not following Trump. We're following principle here.
That's
Emily,
right.
Please, go ahead.
We do want to move on to some more headlines here. Bobby, President Trump taking to Truth Social to put pressure on Hamas. Trump was writing, quote, tell Hamas to immediately give back all 20 hostages. Not 2 or 5 or 7, and things will change rapidly. It will end. Want to get your reaction to this as well, Bobby.
Well, this one is something that, from the very beginning, the hostages were taken, and, we had the Biden administration in place with the Trump administration. Let's sit down. Let's get the hostages back before we do anything else. But, it comes to the question that is raised, do they want to stop? I mean, what is the end goal, obviously, or actually for Israel? Is it the hostages? If it is, I hope so, because the killing needs to stop. And I believe that if the president, again, comparing it to the other issue, if the president puts some force here and says, we need to sit down, we need to get these hostages back before we do any other negotiation on what the future of Gaza is, if there's relocation, what's happening to the Palestinians, all of that hinges on this. The president has shown his force both on foreign policy and domestic policy. Let's get this done.
To your point, it seems like this needs to be kind of the posture, if you will, on all of the critical foreign policy issues, be it Russia, Ukraine, be it China. Draw a line in the sand and say, look, it's time to put up or shut up.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And we've seen that. We've seen the force of these bilateral, trilateral meetings when the president steps forward. The European Union can say all it wants. Other countries can say what they want. Israel can say what it wants. But it's not until the American people, the American public, through the Trump administration, steps forward and says, we will lead, we will get this done. America First advances by having peace in the Middle East and peace with Russia, Ukraine. So let's get it done. If he keeps his foot on the gas here, I think we can see some movement.
By the way, Bobby, what do you think of what's going on with this supposed plan to reinvent the Gaza Strip into like the Riviera of the Middle East? That seems dicey. I understand that America wouldn't necessarily spend any taxpayer dollars on this, but if they're going to have some ownership in some sort of corporation, I don't know. I'm a little wary of that.
Yeah, well, I've got to fall on your side on this as far as being dicey, because, again, it calls into question motivations from the very beginning. Like, do you want the hostages back, or did you just want to clear out Gaza to make it the next Las Vegas or the next Dubai? And with this kind of talk, it's like I'd rather make sure that the Palestinians are taken care of, that Hamas is destroyed, that the hostages are returned. Those steps, get those done. And put America first, and then we'll see what we can do to bring stability to the Middle East.
Yeah, Bobby Eberle, great to have you with us.
Thanks,
right
David.
there in West Palm. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Bobby.
Thanks, Steve.
All right. Still ahead on American Sunrise, a Colorado father with a spinal cord injury working to fulfill his dream of walking his daughter down the aisle. It's all thanks to a Denver neurosurgeon. And actually, it might be possible. We'll talk about it. First, though, a former Biden staffer just put Rashida Tlaib on blast, saying she's gone rogue and left her district behind. We're spilling some tea, and that tea is hot this morning. Stay with us. American Sunrise returning on Thursday. After this, everybody.